Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So we were originally going to be having a presentation from the Star Ledger, but they decided to redo their pricing, whatever that means. So they're probably going to be coming next month. So in the meantime, we have Sam Stewart from Honor U. It's already accredited, so
We'll get the certificates. We'll email to you. So my son is actually going to hand out some like attendance forms and a pen for you to have, so you can fill out that paper. And also, there's some questions on there, but I'll take that back at the end. So it's kind of like to make sure you're paying attention and that you are getting something. We're going to answer some questions. We're going to have some fun. So it was Star Ledger supposed to be here, but we got to upgrade. Okay. You got a last minute upgrade, so yeah, I'm thankful to be here. Thank you for having me. For some of you that don't know me, my name is Samuel Stewart from a company called Honor U Memorial Products, and I'm gonna give it. Some do know me, but I'm gonna share some information that probably you don't know about me. So I went to school for computer engineering. All right, so computer engineering. So I was pretty smart in school. But then I went towards more of computer science, which was like computer programming. So I was very good with computers.
I'm going to close this door so
Sure.
they don't listen to us.
Okay. So I'm very good with computers. I got into programming back in college, and my first couple of jobs was in programming. And then from there, I actually, I went off on my own, was doing like consulting work for different companies, different businesses. I think it's good. It's fine. Oh, it's X this down here. Okay.
we're a mess. It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Come back. It's okay. It's okay. There's a couple more.
They're moving their cars.
What about us?
All right. Okay. So I have a technology background. Now, how I got into the funeral industry, because everyone has a unique story. I wasn't born into it, so to say. But my mother, she made her transition in 2000, and when she did, well, we're actually from Jamaica, West Indies. I was born here, but my parents and my wife from Jamaica, West Indies. So a lot of people couldn't come to the services, but what I did was make a little website for her. This is in 2000. So, websites weren't that big. It was a site called GeoCities, if anybody remembered anything. It was like Facebook before Facebook, all that other good stuff. So I made a little website for her, and I thought it was the greatest thing on earth. And my pastor at the time, he actually introduced me to Perry's Funeral Home, which is the first place I went to. And I showed it to them. And lo and behold, one thing started, but I actually started helping them with their computer systems. And that's how I first got into really working in the funeral industry.
Are you the one who taught Samuel about computers?
No. He's still in class. He's still in class. You're good. He's still in class. Hey, how you doing? All right. So that was my beginning into the funeral industry, and then I went down the path of doing printed materials from programs, prayer cards, and things like that. Okay, so one thing I enjoy doing, and I've always enjoyed doing, is using technology to help business, to make business easier, to make it more effective, to make it more productive as well. So today's class is the advantages of digital memorials. Okay, so that's the class we're doing today, advantages of digital memorials. So back in about 2012, I was actually at one of the national conventions with some of my sons. Some of you guys have seen my sons. I had my sons. They were really about this tall. They were probably about 10, 11, and 12. So it was 20. It was 12 years ago now. Now they're older, giving me grandchildren, well, granddaughter, and married and moved away. But that was when I first really started to introduce things like this, which is a QR code. Okay, this is a QR code. All right. So we'll go further into that in a little bit as well. So one quick story I'll share. A friend of mine who told me, and the internet came about right around the 90s. You know, it was a little before, but really it came into more of, you know, people starting to be aware of it in around the 90s, early 90s. And right around that time, my friend was telling me a story that his brother came to him and he said, you know, he could buy something online and have it delivered to him. And he was thinking at that time, well, why would you buy something online when you could just go to the store and get it like that same time, right? We all thought like that at that point. You know, why are we going to buy it online? We could just go to the store, pick it up at Walmart, wherever it is we want to go to. Now, fast forward to today. How many of us actually still go to stores? I mean, as opposed to we buy stuff online and have it shipped to us because it's so easy because, you know, you can get it in a day or two, sometimes even the same day. So many of us, you know, it's shifted. You know, it's shifted where people are becoming more accustomed to buying and shopping online. This is like the transition of society overall. So, you know, whether or not we like it or not, it's really how the industry, or not industry, you know, the world is being shaped, that everything is more of an online platform. So we look at the funeral industry. And like I said, my first experience was really helping, but like Perry's was the first one, and I actually helped Edith Churchman as well too, with the computer system. But as far as like really advancing in technology, the funeral industry also, you know, is advancing and growing as well too. Even though some kick and scream and don't really want to. Like, how many of you like use computers regularly? Let me start with that.
Sam, raise your hand.
Hey, how you doing?
Oh, there he is.
All right, good. So we have majority. You know, some still don't use it yet, which is fine. But you know, majority of us here do use the computer systems. Now, for those who don't even use computer systems, we have families that we service. And how many of us have families that we service that expect us to be able to use a computer system and communicate with them on computers? Okay, so even Sam raised his hand for that one. There we go. All right, because the families, you know, whether or not we use it or not, the families that we service, they're using it, and we have to be able to, you know, work with them and, you know, accommodate them and so forth. So today what I want to talk about is the advantage of digital memorials, but we're really going to go in more of a problem solution. Okay, problem solution. Everyone say problem? And what do we want with a problem? A solution. Okay. So let's go. Now, digital memorials, and I'm bringing it up because it can answer a lot of problems that I've witnessed, that I've heard about in the funeral industry. I'm curious to know, you know, what are some problems that, and maybe you don't want to use the word problem, but we could say problem, or maybe some things in your business, funeral home, that you have a little bit of a challenge with. Let's say challenge. We like the word challenge instead of problem. Okay? So, you know, what do we have challenges with in the business? Time. Okay, what about time? Everyone likes time.
Don't have enough.
We don't have enough time. Okay, wonderful.
Stop checking your Facebook. You got plenty of
time. He just exposed the real answer to that. Okay, so time is great. Actually, remember, Asa, everyone has a paper. You gotta make sure even when they come in, so everyone has a paper. See, he's ready to eat. So he's like. All right, so on your paper, make sure you fill it out because you're going to give it back to me because that is your attendance. But then there's also some questions on there as well, too, which is going to be used for make sure you're paying attention and getting something out of this as I'm talking as well. No, well, the first question, it's 3 questions, really. No, it's 3 questions, and the first one, I want to make sure you guys get that. All right, the first question is, what's the instructor's name? Okay, all right, so write it on the paper and make sure you put your name too. Samuel Stewart is my name, all right? That's the second Samuel, yes. All right, and then put your name on there, and please put your email address, because this is how I'm going to send out the certificates afterwards, okay? Stewart, S-T-E-W-A-R-T, that's my name. Make sure you spell your name right. That's the all right. E-W-A-R-T, yes. All right, so put your name and put your email address. Does anybody not have an email address? Oh, he's the problem. Okay.
Not you.
No, so we'll write it on someone else's. So we need another form? Okay.
Harry's Funeral Home admin.
Okay. All right, so just put your email address down, and if you don't, then we'll still get it to you. Just make sure you have your name on there. And what we'll do is going to email a certificate to you. I would say by tomorrow, but then we'll see. Definitely by Monday. I'm going to see if I can do them all by tomorrow. All right? So hold on to the papers. Now, the first question, again, was my name. The second question was, what problems, challenges do we have in the funeral? And we said time. I got you. With time. We got time. Okay, so that's something you can write down as well, too. And I'm going to see how digital memorials can help with that. Got you. So still back with time.
It's our time and the timeliness
Of people. Okay.
Giving to us what we need.
Okay. All right.
Both times. Time this way, time that way.
All right.
Just like that.
There we go. All right, so we have time, we have people. Anything else that we can bring up that we can think of?
Language barriers.
Language barriers. Okay. So, like you have customers that are Spanish speaking or different languages? Polish. Oh, okay. All right. That's good. All right. Anything else we have? So write it down on the paper. We're going to see. Payment. Okay. Payment. So, revenue. Making money or collecting money from people. All right. There we go. That's good. All right. Anything else we have?
Cultural differences.
Well, you're just going that's the language, culture.
No participation.
I know you are. I know you are. Okay.
Start with the pain.
Okay. All right. So we have a nice little list of some challenges that we have in the industry. Now, let me throw a couple of them out there as well, too. Is anyone looking to grow their business or to no, not really? No? Okay. All right. Okay. And that's fine. Is anyone looking to still be in business next year? Okay, there we go. So, all right. So if we're not looking to grow, we don't necessarily have to be looking to grow, but do you want to, stay in business? So, why that's important?
I put retired.
You said retire. Okay.
I am retired.
Okay. All right. So, why that's important is because, I brought these up before, and you guys are all aware of things like, companies like Blockbuster, that we're doing remember Blockbuster?
I used to work for Blockbuster.
Did you really? Okay. And then what happened? You're not there anymore.
I was gone before they went out.
But they're gone too because.
You sure you were born?
No, it was only, they had no VHSs, only DVDs when I was there.
But now
Before VHS, Beta.
Beta before all that. So even though they progressed to DVDs, but then are they still around now? No, because they didn't really progress with the time. So when I say to you, whether or not you're looking to grow, because I understand everybody's not looking to actually actively grow their business, but do you want to stay in business? It's still important to understand how technology is involved with that as well too. Because if you have plans to stay in business, and I'm going to even go a little further, because let's say you plan to stay in business, but then what about any succession plan afterwards? Do you want to stay after you are retired or anything like that? Whether you're retired or you want to pass it on to your children, you have to think about that even from now as well too. Something I think about is I bring my son with me. You see him here. He's not just here for food and for. That's what he thinks he's here for. But to have a plan for what's going to happen to the business afterwards as well too. Okay, so. Let's talk a little bit about, so we got a nice list of problems or challenges. Let's talk a little bit about some solutions. Now, that's one thing I really like to get into solutions. I don't know if I think I'm one of the greatest problem solvers there is, but I don't know. That's just how I think of it, but maybe. When I see a problem, I like to see a solution to it. So there was something I saw in the industry personally myself when I was there, many years ago, when I used to go down. I was doing funeral programs and prayer cards, things like that. At the time when I was starting, I gave my story before, I was down in Perry's for most of the time, helping them with computers. But when I first started printing, I was also helping with printing there as well, and Dr. Churchman. Those were my first 2 clients. Dr. Churchman is actually the first one that gave me the opportunity, so I have a special love for her.
Dig that
But when I first started, this is back around the early 2000s, when we had to get an obituary, we weren't like emailing it back and forth. We weren't faxing it back and forth either. I was driving down to Newark. I was talking to Ms. Hodge at the time, or Dr. Churchman there, and I was actually getting the paperwork so I can actually do the programs and then print it off and then bring it back the next morning, because that was like the night before time. They bring stuff at the last minute, and then you had to do it that night, and you bring it back in the morning time. So was that hard? Yes. That was very hard.
You said you helped Sam? Was he with the RPG punch cards?
What's those?
You weren't born.
So that was my initial experience with it, going back and forth. So that was challenging, just to drive down there, get the stuff, wait for it. Then, think about proofs, or that was, you just proved to yourself at that point, and you have to bring it back that morning, and hopefully everything worked out. But you have to look it over really good. So my wife was really instrumental in that part as well, as she's an excellent writer and reader. But that was challenging. So then as technology grew and we was able to start getting into faxing, and then they was able to fax the information over to me, I still actually had to pick up pictures. Then I would just go for pictures and not have to do the rest of the stuff. And I used to go to families' houses too, because then I started picking up some other funeral homes around. Like there was one in Jersey City I used to do some stuff for. They wanted me to go to the family's house. Then that was a whole other ball game, because you go into the family's house, sitting with them, and then now 5 minutes talking to the funeral home versus an hour and a half at the family's house. That's a whole different situation. So as technology advanced, it actually helped me to cut down a lot of time in business, because I was able to get it faxed, and then pictures emailed, and then nowadays most time they email the obituary as well too. But that's how technology helped to solve that particular problem. So that was one. Then I'll tell you, I take a lot of pride in the programs. This is kind of part of the thing, but I take a lot of pride in the programs that I create, all right, for the family. We put a lot of time and effort into it. Personally, I take a lot of pride. So I went to a service, this is years ago, and then afterwards, after the service, I saw like programs just like folded up and thrown into the corner of trash, but then it was like in the corner of somewhere. It was just left in church. So when I saw that, it was like, it was it was just, so when I realized like the amount of work that I was doing and what was happening, then I was like, okay, something else has to change with this. Because I realized too, on that point, that the families are paying for programs, and not everyone is going to appreciate it that way. So that's really where I first came up with these scanned barcodes, all right, because I was thinking of something that could be a solution where, for one, when they scan the code, and this is initial how these work, when they come to a funeral service, they scan the code, and they're actually able to scan the code, and they pull up a funeral program on their phones. All right, so everyone, when they came to service, just like some of you have phones out right now, the guests would all have their phones with them. They would scan it, boom, they have a program on the phone. There's nothing that they would have left behind. The family didn't waste money by buying extra programs, because that was also another thing I saw too, that families, even when they came to me and I dealt with them, they're asking like, how many programs should I have? And I'm like, I don't know how many people did they love your loved one. I don't know how many people, it's like, and the reality is that there's never, you never know the exact amount. You know, either you're going to be too short or you're going to be over. So this was another reason why this was important too, because then now there's never an overage or underage. It's always the exact amount because as many people scan it as how many people need it. You know, so those were the reasons that we initially came up with the whole scan to solve that quote-unquote problem.
Printable then?
This?
I mean, when they scan it, can they print it?
I mean, they basically have PDF, so they can print it. So what happens, I mean, and then I'm going to go back into, usually what happens is the family gets some copies for themselves, immediate family. So they'll get 25 copies or what have you. And then everyone else can scan the code like this and have it on their phone. So that, you know, everyone doesn't have to have a program. So the family gets it, and anyone that wants to print it, they can print it off. Okay? So that was where we started off with getting home memorials. We call it memorial scans. Then I'm gonna look at her, okay? Because Wiggum Funeral Home called me up. This wasn't too long ago, actually, and this is where it actually took the kind of next level of what it went to. And this was as far as like a problem being solved. There was a large service they were having for someone, and there was an issue with, or there was a question of how can we have some way to track the guests when they come in to the service, because there's going to be a large crowd that's coming. So, okay, let me pull you into the problem as well too. When there's a large service, a lot of people there, and you have one register book, what happens?
You put out other pages.
Well, you can have a lot of pages. Like it's a bottleneck. It's right there because you got whether you have one register book, and sometimes like what we do because we print register books, they'll ask for 2 register books. They can get 3 register books, but still you only have 3 register books that people are taking a pen and they're signing, and it's a logjam. So once they came to me with that, then I talked to my other son. He's not here, and we spoke about it, and we came up with a solution for that. That they actually can use a scan code like this, and when they come in to the service, they actually scan this code on their phone, because everyone comes with their phone anyway. Everybody has a phone. Anybody here does not have a phone? Raise your hand. So guess what? Give me 5, Sam. I didn't.
Sam does have a phone. Where is it?
Oh, does he? Well,
Waldo.
yeah. So it's funny story. I actually really do not have a phone. I love to use technology, but then I love to just use it for what I need it for, but then I don't necessarily use it all the time. Yes, yeah. Okay. The technology. All right. Okay, so even if you get 2 or 3 register books, there's a log jam. People can't sign the book, or not can't sign the book. It takes a long time to get into the funeral and so forth. So that's where this came up, because now they come with their phones anyway. Everyone else has a phone if their name is not Sam. They come in with their phones and they scan the code and they fill out the register book right from their phones. Okay, so they actually come in with their register book with them. They don't realize that what their phone is actually the register book. So they sign it, and as they scan it, they go. There's no line, and it's unlimited. You don't have to get a book with extra pages. You don't have to get extra books, because it's just.
You can do both too. You can have a book out, and because there's some really old people that come in, they don't have a phone.
You are absolutely right. So we call it the best of both worlds. So you can do a book and you have the scan as well too. Yes. So we don't eliminate, or we don't. Discard. Yeah, we allow for other people to do that as well too. So they can sign a register book. So, all right. So that's how that came about, through the challenge that Wiggum came to me with, and just thinking of it further. So then I was like, okay, can we just combine the 2 of them together? And then what do? We actually did where it's a register book when they come in, but after they fill out the register book, guess what they can get? A copy of the funeral program. Okay, because that's how we did it originally. So they scan this, they get a copy of the funeral program, and then what comes? Well, I'm going ahead of it, but so they scan it, they sign the register book, they get the funeral program at the service. They're sitting at the service, they have it on their phone, and then a day or so after the service, what usually happens? What does the family have to do? It's a big task that the family said they have to send out thank you cards. Okay, so. What we did next is a day after the services, it automatically will send a thank you email to the family. I mean, not to the family, to the guests, everyone that signed it. So it eliminates them having to send out thank you cards. It eliminates them,
It sends an e-acknowledgement?
an email with the personalized thank you from the family.
Uh-huh.
Okay? Hi. Okay? So that's how that works. All right? And this is not just me like kind of sharing this. It's more of a broader educational. But this is how we saw a problem and we saw a solution that can be provided through technology. All right? So technology can be great. And I'll say this in reference to, like, prior to this, when they came to me with that quote unquote problem, challenge, my initial thing to them was like, okay, I've been to conventions, I've gone to a lot of different conventions, and I've seen there's companies that has like a tablet or what have you. They have a tablet that you can sign in, you can type as you come in, which was good, right? Because that, for one, it helps. When they have a register book, everyone writes their name in there. Looking around this room and knowing some of you, your handwritings stink. All right? So, just be honest. So imagine the family afterwards reading through the register book, attempting to, decipher so that they can send out a thing, and the amount of time it takes to do it already, and then now to decipher all these handwritings. So those initial little tablet things were actually good because it was typed instead of something that was handwritten. But then with that, you still had the bottleneck issue because you still had to have someone, you had one station somewhere that when people were coming in, it was only one typing thing. And, it's not that easy to type on those tablets as well, too. So even though technology can be good and it can help some situations, and I'm attempting not, because I'm not looking to like sell like that. I'm just saying sometimes there's better technology. Okay, so there's the technology that had the tablet, but there were still limitations. Like let's say you had it at your funeral home, but then your service at a church. Now you have to carry this big thing, and you still have one that's going to be. So it's a lot of different things. This here, you can print it off many times. You put it up. You can have it all over. People can scan it, sign it. You can take this. I brought 4 of them with me. I only put 3 out because I had a little stand. But you can put it up as many times as you want. So this is how digital memorials can be used to offer an advantage. Now, when I say advantage, it's in different ways. One of the first challenges that came up when Susan said was time. Now, how does this save time? So it saves time for, it saves time for the family, which, we definitely want to offer something great for the families. They don't have to do the thank you notices. They don't have to decipher the register book, handwriting, things like that. But how does it, what does it do for you, the funeral professionals? How does it save time for you guys? Or what's the benefit for you guys to do something like this and embrace technology more, maybe, incorporate it more into your business as well? So you were saying something?
Overhead.
It's
less overhead buying register books.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you cards.
Okay. Then also, I would say the time aspect as well. Let me see how I'm put this. Okay.
I would say, because remember we did it anew, and the family was very happy when they got the register book back, where they could read everybody. So instead of the register book just staying in the bag and in the closet, it really meant something because they could go back and they could actually see comments that friends came. They talked about what that person that died meant to them.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden there's more value in the book and just didn't go in the closet and that's the end of it.
Yeah.
And that's how it worked
when you did it there. Yeah. So that was another aspect that we added on to it, too, just so that the guests can leave a little comment as they're signing the book. They actually put a comment to the family, which is very good. It's meaningful for the family to see something like that. But I'm saying though, with the digital memorials and things like this, there's a lot of being in business for over 20 years at this point. There's a lot of hiccups that can go when you have the printed materials. I was just thinking of a nice way to think. But there's, the reality is there's a lot of hiccups. I mean, we ship stuff all around. When it was snowing just the other day, probably about 5 or 6 different people didn't get the stuff because of the snow. Stuff like this, it's weatherproof. Okay, there's no issue with snow to deliver. There's no issue with FedEx, UPS. It can be done, for anybody really anywhere. We've had instances also where we have stuff that's put together or printed, and then the family wants to make an addition to it. Okay? Now, for us, presently, right now, without something like this, we'd have to make changes to something physically, reprint the whole thing, and then go start all the process. And the cost is then going to be reflective of that. When we get into something digital, then now you just make a change, and within 5 minutes, it's done. And all these things. Yeah. So I brought these memorial scans up as one thing, but it's really not just the memorial scans. It's really like the whole operation, and things can be, in a way, automated. Where things are just automatically done, as opposed, just like thank you notices. Okay, it's something that's automatically done, so it saves money, it saves resources, it saves time, and it just helps in that regards as well. So,
questions, Stuart. With the thank you notes, can
yes.
they be personalized with different words, or do you have to use a generic thank you?
No, as you do it, the family can put their own message. So it comes up with a standard, but then they can change it and override it and put something personalized in there. Okay. So that's
the family gets that program. It's like in a traditional funeral, you're going to get thank you donations, and they're not going to know about it until probably months after the service, because by the time the Heart Association or the Cancer Association forwards that list to the family, they then have to sit back then, and then could they input that into that system?
So, all right, so you understand his question? I mean, I know the answer, but we're all working together here, so it's like, all right, so he said, it's going to be months later afterwards. So what would happen, and this is how we can tackle the problem, what would happen right now if the family had a funeral today, and then they sent out thank you notices, next week, but then a couple months later they heard from that there was a donation made, then what would happen presently?
Well, you would send a thank you note.
Yeah, so they would send another thank you notice. So I mean, the way this...
You would send two, you would wait. I mean, not everybody gets thanked for just showing up at the funeral, in a normal funeral. They would thank you if you sent food, you picked up people at the airport, you made donations, you babysat kids, you cleaned their house. People keep track of these nice things that happen after a service takes place. So then you'd sit down and you'd write them each a thank you note acknowledging the fact that the Sloppy Joes were great, thank you for the $100 contribution to the Cancer Society. It was great taking care of the grandkids for us. But who's going to do that in your system?
Well, as great as technology is, technology doesn't know that someone made Sloppy Joe or something like that, so it's going to be that's going to be more on a personalized level.
So the family will then have to sit down and then compose either, whether it be on your system or a handwritten thank you note,
or email.
Send out to the family.
Yeah, or email they could do at that point, because there's only so much that they would,
Right, okay.
Yeah, okay. So technology is great. To be honest, there are some limitations that you can't count for everything, but it does help in a lot of situations.
I
Yes.
just have one question. Do you include the address of the guest? So in a case like this, if you wanted to even send them
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. So it's a regular register book. So you get the name, you get the address, you get the email, and you get to put a comment for the family. So you still have all the information if you wanted to send out a traditional thank you notice for something special that you find out about later on.
Okay.
Yeah. But this, like what you said before, is that they wouldn't send a thank you to everyone that came to the funeral.
It's on the register book, the
Yeah.
virtual register book.
Right.
Yeah, but so why wouldn't they send it to everyone that came to the funeral? Not necessarily.
Well, it's easy to do it if it's automated.
Exactly. So I'm saying, so right now it would do it to everyone that came to the funeral, and the only reason they didn't was because it was more work, it was more cost, but now we actually can send a thank you to everyone that came to the services. and something special to those who did something special.
Surprised you're not taking pictures at the door.
Ta-
Remember, we had the scanner for the temperature?
Oh, yeah, no, I'm not. No.
You talk about digital.
Yeah, no, not the temperature
That'd be
scanner.
a good job for your son.
You asking a question?
So you go to church and you gotta scan that thing. You have to have Wi-Fi, say the church don't have Wi-Fi, will that work?
Well, that's what we said. So, I mean, most people have it on their phone. If you have it on your phone, so there, like Mr. Boykins brought up as well too. We could also have a book available that people can sign a book as well. So that's a backup.
If they don't get the Wi-Fi in church, you can't get it?
I don't know if everyone really counts on Wi-Fi to. If you have cell service, then you have it. You know. Yeah. So if there's yeah. Yeah.
Once you take that picture and you don't have Wi-Fi, because I know people in my funeral home, they ask me for the Wi-Fi because they can't send me messages.
Yeah. So if you have a challenge with connection, then yeah, that's okay. Question.
What's the access all this tribute memorial?
So
information?
every time someone actually emails every time someone signs a book, they actually get an email with all the information for that guest that came in. So you actually can specify which email address it's going to go to. So,
And when they make a donation or?
well, this is just a register book. You know, donation is going to be something separate. We don't cover that yet, but that's a good thought, possibly down the road.
How do you access their bullets or the booklet, the pamphlet?
Once
Yeah.
you scan the QR code, it's on your phone.
Yeah. Once you sign once you sign the register book, you get it on your phone right there. It's automatically there. Yes.
So maybe I'm jumping a little ahead.
Go ahead.
That's what I do. So I'm sitting down with my family and I'm telling them about all these good things.
Hmm.
Are these things included in your package price for programs, or would these be considered extra?
It's extra.
Okay, we
Yeah.
can sidebar that. but
Got you. Yeah.
No, if I'm sitting down with a family, okay, this is what I can do for you. This is
Mhm.
the service that the printer provides.
Yeah. Yeah. But you know, and it's extra, but because the way that digital works, it's actually less expensive than a regular book, or like a deluxe book, a hardcover book, and it's unlimited. Because we've had people that order multiple books, but it's actually less expensive to get just one of this, and it's unlimited. Yeah.
Now, after you scan it, you sign the register book, do you get an Excel spreadsheet with everybody on it, or is it an individual email that comes through, like Mrs. Jones came, then the next email, Mr. Smith came, then the next email, Mr. Roberts came?
So your question is for Sam, because he wants the Excel spreadsheet, right? So right now, you get an email. You can get a spreadsheet. That would be something that you just request, and we can send it to you. But right now, it just gets an email. But we can generate a CSV with a spreadsheet. Yeah.
Email address.
Yep.
I think the
Yes.
reason he's asked that question too, we were just talking about that. When you have the register book in front of you with 100 signatures, it's easier to go through than 100 emails.
Mhm. Yeah.
I think emails would make me nuts.
So you saw the page how it comes out before.
Yeah, but what he did, we had the register book at the service.
Right.
We had also people signing online. I took the register book back to him, and he printed it.
And put it together.
In the register book.
Yeah.
So when I presented it to the family.
It had everything
It had
together.
the written ones
There's
and the
other
digital
things
ones.
you can do.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, so it has a combination of them together. Yeah. So it's all about kind of, I think, more or less wrap it up a little bit. It's more about using technology to solve some of the challenges in the funeral industry. Like I said, this is where I got started from in the funeral industry, just setting up computer systems and all that good stuff. But now looking at different ways that we can use technology to solve some issues. Time-wise, it helps. It saves with time. I know that was the first thing you brought up. I mean, you have. I like to say that it creates time. That's how I like to look at it. It creates time. Because if you save time, you're making time, basically. And it also makes money. Because it saves money, it makes money. Because in business, we probably all know this, the more you save is basically the more that the more that you're making. So if you can save, you can cut your time from doing something using technology, you can save money, you're making more money. Like I said, it also is good for, I'm sorry, you had your hand up. Go ahead. He did. I'm sorry, because I was.
Not that I want to take bread out of your son's mouth,
Okay.
but
Yes.
where do the QR codes come from? Is that something generic that you can just download off the net? Or do you have to like buy into a
It's gotta be
program
linked to
for?
something.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
does that
Yeah.
work?
So the reality is, I mean, you can create a QR code, but like you said, it has to be linked to something. So you'd have to have the program. I mean, think of a QR code like this. QR code is like a phone number.
Right.
All right. So when you scan the code, it's going to that location. It knows the QR code is going to right here, and it's pulling back his picture and all his information there. Another QR code would come over this way. You know, it's just.
Okay.
But
So you need a program. or
you
an
you
app.
can generate the QR code, but then you also have to have something in that place where it's going to go to. So you know that's how this works. Where you would it stores the information for you,
Right.
creates the QR code, creates the sheet that lets has a picture. You can do all stuff like that. So it does it automatically. Okay. So
Sure, question. Everybody in business, like you said, wants to make more money.
Yes.
And we need to find out more options to bring revenue into our funeral homes. Now, based on what you're presented here today, what would the charge to us be for that?
so for something like this,
Right.
this is when you because this is something that you can do on your own. It's not even something that I necessarily have to do. When I say do on your own, it's on our website. You have the capability to do it. This costs $20 just to do it for, let's say, a register book.
Right.
If you wanted to add a thank you notice, I think altogether it's $50 if you want to do the program, the register book, and the thank you notice. If you just do the register book, it's $20. If you just do the program, it's another $20, and the thank you notice is $10, something like that.
Per family.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, not per use, per family. Yeah.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
So what I'm getting at, though, is that then the suggested price to a family is going to be what then? Do you have an idea?
I mean, I have an idea, but your idea is better than my idea. It's like-
You're very good. You're very good. Thank you. So
Yeah.
what I'm getting at,
Yes.
though, is that case if I'm going to present this to a family, I'm going to be probably losing the general price of a memorial package for my price list.
Okay.
Okay, which is somewhere between $300 and $500,
Okay.
depending what you want. So if I'm going to be then offering this to a family, I'm probably going to be offering this at $125. So I'll be losing half of what.
We're not allowed to talk about prices directly.
No, I'm not talking, I'm just estimating things out, okay?
Yeah.
So I'm just estimating something out. Revenue is, I'll use the word revenue, I won't use the word money.
Okay.
Revenue is something everybody in business wants to do, okay? We have to find a way then to increase revenue through what you're offering us.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be a unique challenge.
Yeah. So I mean, go ahead. You can keep going.
I'll end it there.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, in some ways, it's gonna cost less to offer this here, right? But then again, what is it doing? It's saving you time, ease of use. It's yeah.
And I think also, like for me, I have to come to Orange to pick up the program.
Yeah.
Then I gotta go back home, I gotta make sure I'm on time for the funeral, blah.
Yeah.
I could be sitting on my couch.
Yeah, doing it from home. And you can do it middle of the night. It doesn't matter when you're doing it.
Yeah.
So, cost-wise, it is less. But then, what does it save you? Time. And then, what do you value time at? You know what I'm saying? Because that's where we're at.
You're also deducting the register book, the thank you cards, different things like that. So
Yeah.
maybe a box of thank you cards, I don't know what they are nowadays, $10.
Yeah.
A register book, 25. So you add that, and it kind of would balance at some point. I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. So now, also, I mean, the reality of it is as well too. Everybody is in here is wonderful and great, but not everybody is going to do something like this here. All right. So now, what does it add you? There we go. So what does it add you to have an extra service that you're providing for the family?
No, I think it's a great idea
You know,
and
yeah.
for people who want it.
Yeah.
But you can't fall behind one thing today like this, because you're going to get a family that will say, oh no, I want Crane's cards. My husband was a doctor, and we're going to write those thank you notes out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because if I got a thank you note for a $100 donation on the computer, I probably never would talk to you again. That's just my concept of life. You know.
Yeah, so that would be a personalized
Yeah.
thank you to get for
Right.
something like that. So,
Isn't for everybody.
Right.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Well, I suppose, like you said, this is a good addition to the memorial.
Yeah.
Because it's printed, not handwritten,
Yeah.
you know.
So, going beyond just the funeral service, it, as Mr. Boykin said, it does give an edge when you offer things like this, because everybody in business kind of look and see, well, what can we offer for a family that they're going to remember you more so than anyone else they've gone to, and if you can offer something like this that helps them, because ultimately it's going to help them a lot as well too.
I
Yes.
think too, excuse me,
Mhm.
increasingly, I'm dealing with families that I never see until the day of the funeral.
Mhm.
They prefer to do everything online.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's help them a little more.
Yeah.
And I think also, and I don't think you touched on it,
Mm-mm.
your standard program
Mhm.
with the barcode,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because I know for us, or probably the majority of people in the room, it's that issue of, oh, I don't have to mail them to Auntie in Georgia.
It's just there.
I can scan this and send her the program, because that is the other issue. Like, can you save 25 programs? I'm like, why am I saving them? The barcode. Oh,
Mhm.
I can scan that and send. So that kind of concept too, even outside of that, the fact that on the program itself, if a family goes through you,
Mhm.
custom barcode is there that it can just be electronically sent across the world.
Yeah.
It pops right up on their phone or their email.
Mhm.
Again, to each his own.
Yeah.
But I do know a lot of families
That appreciate that. Yeah, and they come
don't
to you.
wanna go to the post office and mail stuff.
Yeah.
One thing
Yes.
to say is that, I mean, how many people had 100 programs and 200 people show up? I mean, actually, can you print some programs on your printer?
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to say, scan.
Just
one
scan
of
and
those.
you're good to go.
Now you're a hero. They're not mad because they don't have one.
Yeah.
They're the only one that didn't get one. So
Mhm.
it's not all one way or all the other way.
Yeah.
They do work hand in hand.
And I have to remember this thought, but I want you to go first. Go ahead.
Then there's always a problem, who gets the book?
Mhm.
Does the mother get the book, does the wife get the book, so in this case, they all can get a book.
Yeah, they all get the information that's in the book as well.
Who gets the book? You gave the book to her.
So let me say, I'll say two more things, and then we're good. All right. So you good? All right. Just like even in like regards to what you're saying as well too. Yes, it may end up being less expensive and less that you're bringing in, but it does give a quote unquote edge over everyone else. We had to do that for our own business because we started doing the QR codes on the programs. Like I said, this is back from 2012 we were doing it. So we had to weigh, okay, we can sell 200 programs or 300, or we can put the QR codes on there. And for us, it gave us an advantage, it gave us an edge over other printers or other people doing things. Hey, Diane. It gave us an advantage to take, to use technology that, helped us to even go further. Okay? So I'm confident, even as, other people embrace these things like that, it just gives an edge. Last thing I'll say about it too is, another reason I'm not promoting or just pushing to do funeral programs outside or what have you. We have to realize that the memorial items that we get is always a marketing piece. All right, and just like any business that needs to market, for people to know your name, to know who you are, to know who serviced the family, the memorial items that they get, they has the funeral information on the back, whether it's a prayer card, it's a program. So you want something that is going to look good, that the guests are going to want to keep and take home with them. So you want something that is, presentable and very attractive. So they'll keep it, and they'll have, Galanti Funeral Home on there. They'll have Cotton Funeral, so whatever. They'll have that, and they'll hold on to it because they'll remember, oh, they did this service. Now that's great, and even with something like this, what's good about this as well is it allows you to One advantage of digital as well too is that it's easily shareable. I think it came up already before. It's very easily shareable. So now it's not just the people that may have came to the service that gets to know your funeral home's name, but it's like they want to send a program, they want to send any of the digital stuff. It's easily, they can share it all over the world. They'll see Churchman Funeral Home. They'll see whatever funeral home that you're representing on that piece. And it stays with them just in that sense. So on a marketing aspect as well, also, like depending on how you do it as well, when they scan it, when every guest comes in and scans it, they actually can see the funeral home name on there as well. So they can see, I know when you go, you have your card that has the thing in the window. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not a funeral director, but I've asked many people afterwards, like if I knew they went to funeral service, well, who did the service? And many times they don't even know who did the service. You know what I'm talking about? Unless there's a special color car or something like that. A lot of times they wouldn't know who did the service for whatever reason, whether it's not. Now, from a business standpoint, I'm saying to you, that's not good. Because at a funeral, you have hundreds of guests there that are getting to see you at the height of your service, and if they don't all know who's doing the service, then you're doing it and you're getting paid for that service right there, but then that's not translating over to the other people knowing what great service you provided. So, what I'm saying with something like this, when they scan it, every guest can see the funeral home information on there as they scan it, because you can put it underneath the picture. So now everyone is getting imprinted in their minds, okay, they did the funeral service, and they're seeing it. So there's just really a lot of advances to digital memorials. I have to end the mic, drop the mic there. But the class is Advances of Digital Memorials, okay? So again, my name is Samuel Stewart, so E-W-A-R-T. All right, you guys should all have a pen with our information on the pen. He didn't. Oh, my son. He didn't. Okay, but I'm gonna take the paper back so that I have your attendance, so I can send you a certificate. Okay, and thank you. Okay, actually, you know what? I can't take my son's job away from him. He's got to do it. He's gonna collect all this stuff. All right, you good? All right, thank you.
Yeah, you gotta make an announcement that everybody gets one.
Okay.